Hello everyone and welcome to a very special video. Today we're going to take a look at the brand new crafter block being added by vanilla Minecraft. We're not only going to see how it might function in a create contraption, but we're also going to think about how it might impact the game and how everybody will be playing the create mod going forward once 1.21 finally drops. So before we take a look at how the crafters are going to change the game and what it actually means for the crate mod, I really wanted to take a look at how a crafter would differentiate itself from a mechanical crafter in an actual automated farm. So what I have here is an automatic sign farm where I made one version using the new crafters and one version using mechanical crafters, just kind of take a look at the difference. Now the crate mod doesn't actually work with the new snapshot yet, so you may be wondering how I have the crafting tables in my game. What I've actually done is I installed the auto crafting table mod, which isn't a one-to-one comparison of how the crafters are going to work in game, but you get close enough. It does have a template and an input, but for our cases in this video, I'm going to be treating it like it was the actual crafter and actually inputting stuff how it does in game. And if you want to know more about how the real Minecraft crafter is going to work, I've linked a video down in the description by Zoomavoid, which gives a really good little breakdown of how the block is going to end up working. So at the end of this assembly line, we're trying to make cherry signs, which first is going to start from our farm, where we're then filtering out, and then we have our crafter set up to take cherry logs as an input, and then automatically craft down into 4 planks. Now, to run the crafter, we do need a clock. So what I have is a very simple redstone clock using some of these pulse repeaters. You can definitely have a faster clock, but this is kind of what I picked for this little test here to kind of just see how everything is going to end up working. After that, we then need to go into another crafter where we combine sticks and the cherry planks. So in this crafter, first have to input all of our planks and then we can put in the stick. Now the way I've done this is actually really quite simple. We're just running off the same clock here, and we have 2 of these funnels being activated, so our signal's reversed. It'll turn off for a second and then back on. We're allowing 6 planks through and a single stick, and then all I've done on the other end here is kind of just shuffle where these are at. So the planks are just a block forward, so they're always going to go in first, because that's how you would need to put it in the crafter in the vanilla game. So once that's done, in the vanilla game, it would just pop out, but here we're using a funnel to then funnel it out over into a storage unit. So honestly, this ended up being a lot more simple than I was expecting. It seems like the crafters might not be too difficult to use. And then for mechanical crafters, it's relatively similar. So first, you just go and do a single crafter, which then crafts your item up, and that can export directly into an inventory. I believe the actual in-game crafters will do the same. However, this mod I'm using doesn't, so we have to use the funnels. Back to our mechanical crafters. Once those are through, I'm sending them to depots, which then goes into a mechanical arm, which then places the sticks at bottom and the planks at top. It does a stack for the planks, and then it places the stick, and then it crafts up into the finished sign. Now the differences here aren't anything crazy, and honestly, I was really surprised at the crafters, and I really do think that even though we have mechanical crafters in the game, the crafters themselves are probably going to change how a lot of us play and how a lot of our contraptions are built. So let's start taking a deeper dive at what this crafter is going to do for us, but also why the mechanical crafter and crafting blueprints are still going to be a big part of the game, and I don't see them being removed from the crate mod anytime soon, even though we do have pretty much a direct replacement here with the crafter. So the first thing I want to take a look at is inputs and how they're going to kind of differ between the crafter and the mechanical crafter. So we're going to look at the 2 extremes here. So first, I'm just going to take a look at what if you need a whole bunch of the same items. And I used iron chest pieces as an example, but like this would include like all of like your stone variants, your stairs, your slabs, all your wood variants. There's a whole lot of stuff that actually only uses a single item. But for the crafter, real simple. You need a belt with a funnel, and then you just have your input, and it doesn't matter which order they go in. It'll automatically fill from top left to bottom right. And if you're accidentally putting an extra, it'll just kind of stack up and it won't really be a big deal, and you can just kind of output it into whatever storage you have. And for mechanical crafters, it's really much of the same. All you really need is one input, and then if you use a wrench on these little points, you can actually connect your mechanical crafter together, and you can kind of have it be one big chunk. And so it'll automatically sort out all the items into every spot immediately, and you can then craft up your armor. So really here, there's not too much difference in how you would want to input. The strategies are literally the exact same. The only difference is the crafting mode at the end. So now we're going to take a look at the other extreme and make a fireworks star. So the recipe we're using here is a bunch of dye, one gold nugget, and one gunpowder. Now in the crafter, you can't just put these in willy-nilly, because if you do, if let's say you have 2 red dye in a row by accident, what it'll do is you'll have 2 red dye in this recipe instead of 1, and then that won't work. You won't get the same fireworks star you're trying to create. So for our crafter, what I've done here is we have basically all of these timed out to release one single item at a time. And then I have this belt here, which is sped up, so that way by the time the items get to the end, the next item hasn't shown up on the belt yet. And this could probably be timed a little better and a little quicker if you really wanted to make this system efficient. But the way this works is every single item just gets put in one by one. And let's say you're doing a shaped crafting recipe instead of shapeless like this one is, this would be the first item, this would be the second item, third, fourth, fifth, down the line. And so you can actually pretty easily get a crafting method and not really have to worry about timing stuff out, as long as you just kind of have one feeder belt. And then we have our clock here that'll craft it up and then spit it out. And for a mechanical crafter, we're doing something completely different. You can actually belt to each individual mechanical crafter piece. However, I've done that before and it's not very easy or fun. You're going to have a ton of belt work to do, and it's really not worth doing for a 3x3 crafting recipe. Some crafting recipes it might be if it's simpler, or you can connect some of these up together. But realistically, if you're doing mechanical crafting, you can probably afford a mechanical arm. So what I'm doing is I have all these belts with all the different items, mechanical arm is grabbing them and then placing them into each spot respectively, which then gets crafted up and our fireworks star gets spit out. So here, I don't really know if there's a clear winner. The mechanical arm is always going to work 100% of the time. You're not going to have to really worry about it messing up. Where this, if you don't have your timing just right, or maybe you load and reload the world on a server or on your game and these get off put, you may have to come back in and fix the system, where this is just always going to work. But with that being said, you could replace these mechanical crafters with the regular crafter, and as long as you have this to force round robin, which means it will always pick the next item, and let's say it's missing green dye, it won't skip to the cyan. It'll stay, hey, I'm missing green, and it'll wait. So if you have that on force round robin, you could actually have it input into an auto crafting table and still use the mechanical arm with the auto crafting table. And I suppose that being said, if you connected all these together, you could actually use this system too, because you're inputting one at a time in order. Now, honestly, I was expecting to come to a bit of a different conclusion here. When I built these two systems, I didn't really think that they could be switched, but putting some thought into it, yeah, they totally could. You can use the mechanical arm for the crafter, and you can use this belt system for the mechanical crafter. So we're going to call this one a tie if we were putting it down to which one is better, and I don't think the crafter is really going to change how we're inputting items into our systems. So now we're going to take a look at the speed difference between the mechanical crafters and the crafters. So what I have right here is 9 stacks of iron ingots that'll be dropping down into both the crafter and mechanical crafter. Got the both pretty much max speed. I've got a really quick clock here. And then I have this running at 256 speed. And what we're going to see is what the time difference is between crafting a stack of iron blocks and which one is faster and by how much it's faster. So we'll get this going and see which one is faster. So the crafter was faster, which I definitely expected, but what I really didn't expect was how much of a difference there was. The crafter took 28 seconds, and the mechanical crafter took over 100 seconds to do a single stack, which means there was a 75-second difference, over a minute longer for the mechanical crafter to craft up one stack of blocks than it would take the regular crafter. So there is a significant speed boost you get by using the auto crafting table versus the mechanical crafters. But on that note, you do need different infrastructure to run both your crafter and mechanical crafter at pretty much full speed. So for the crafter, you do need some kind of redstone clock. So here I have an 8-tick, pretty simple redstone clock. You can get faster clocks, which is actually what I was using here. This one was only 6 ticks, But as you might have noticed, this actually turned off. So what happened was I relogged from my game in between when I recorded that clip and now, and it stopped itself when I logged back in. So we maybe might be a little bit limited unless you have some kind of way to start this, or you just have like a faster clock system. But realistically, very little infrastructure is needed. Now, to run a 3x3 crafting grid at full speed, you need 4,008 stress units, which would be 18 small water wheels, 9 large water wheels, 72 sails, or 1 level 2 steam engine, which this is level 1, so you need double this steam engine. So it's honestly not cheap to power one of these, and especially if you have something that needs multiple crafts down a line, it could actually get really quite expensive power-wise to actually have a bunch of mechanical crafters all running at full speed. Now, I'm going to get really transparent with you guys. I thought this would lead to a different conclusion. When I was kind of going into making this video, I thought that, the crafter would have some nice things, but honestly, the mechanical crafter would be better in this way and that way and this way. But realistically, I think in most cases, if you're just trying to go for the most efficient way to build a farm in Minecraft using the crate mod, you're going to want to feed your crafts through the crafter. I think there are maybe some edge cases where you would want the mechanical crafter. Like, for example, if you were doing a note block farm, you'd want to feed your wood all the way in the edges and then have your redstone in the middle. Now, this would actually be a lot easier as far as the belt work with the mechanical crafters, because what you could do is connect all of these outside ones together, feed wood into one of these, and then feed your redstone into the middle, where here you'd have to time it out to feed up each individual spot one by one and kind of plan it out that way. So there are edge cases where the mechanical crafter is better. But in most cases, like the examples we looked at today, the auto crafter, or just the crafter from vanilla Minecraft, will probably be better. That being said, let me walk you through a scenario. You've just spent the last few hours automating power rails. Now, this isn't an easy craft. You need to automate gold, which is multiple steps to crush the gravel and then turn it into sand and then red sand and wash it and so on until you get gold. And redstone is not an easy thing to automate. You need to go through a lot of different recipes. You need to make potions. You need to make cinder flowers. That means you need to go to the nether. It's a crazy craft. Plus you need a tree farm to provide it 6, and you just spent hours crafting your farm to make powered rails, but you finally did it, and boy does it feel good. But now that you've done that, what would be more interesting? A little block that spits it on the ground or spits it into a chest, and that's it. You get your item. That's great. That's what you're working for. Or having a beautiful display where you see every single item all filled in, then you see them all animate and come together and form a beautiful powered rail at the end. And honestly, I think this is why mechanical crafters are still so important. Not only are they a critical part of the create mod, but they look awesome, they work awesome, and the animations are gorgeous. And I don't know, I think they're cool. And I think that's what a lot of the create mod is about, is to see your little contraptions come together and be built. And I think that has a lot of value. Even though this is faster, more efficient, whatnot, I think the mechanical crafter is still very important. Plus, if we're just talking pure efficiency, I don't know how often these are used. I know I often forget about them, but the crafting blueprints are absolutely the best thing you can do. So for anyone who's not aware, all you got to do with the crafting blueprint is you set a recipe. So let's say we want ingots turned into nuggets. And all I can do here is just right click, or I can shift right click and very quickly rip through a whole stack. And this is going to be faster than even a crafter maxed out on speed. So if you have a small batch of stuff to create, boom, I just crafted a stack of iron in a second. But yeah, if you have small batches and you're doing it by hand, crafting blueprints are your absolute best friend and are still going to be needed no matter what. But let me know what you guys think. Do mechanical crafters still really genuinely have a very important role to play? I'm sure they do, and I'm sure that the create mod may be updated to kind of have more use for them, like you get better output if you use a pressing operation or mechanical crafters, and we may even see some new recipes that require more than a 3x3 grid that will kind of make it so that way you can't use this to automate some create components. You need to use the mechanical crafters. So let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of the new crafter and how you think it's going to change Minecraft. Honestly, I'm glad to have it. I know there's a lot of discourse and far as like, oh, it's making Minecraft too technical and it's gonna be way too OP in modded Minecraft, which it totally is. um, but I think it's cool. I think Minecraft is taking a big step here. And for the first time in years, I'm just genuinely excited to see what this next update has to hold and to see where the future of Minecraft is going. Um, I think that it's going to be insane and we're going to see some truly crazy builds and crazy updates going forward, or at least that's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this kind of weird video for my channel, but I had a lot of fun kind of exploring this new block in vanilla Minecraft, and I don't know, I'm really hopeful and really excited to see where Minecraft and the crate mod are going to be going from here. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.